This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Trump's trade war, the latest on the U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods.
Chicken shortage. Bird flu in the U.S. is leading to a lack of spring chicks here in Nova Scotia.
And a derelict building calls for the demolition of the old St. Patrick's Alexandra School after a rash of fires.
Increasing clouds and our next system rolling in with snow throughout the day on Thursday, then ice pellets, freezing rain and rain. Your full weather forecast is coming up.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced sweeping tariffs on Canada and many other countries. Trump declared a 10% baseline tax on all foreign imports.
He unveiled his so-called Liberation Day trade policy, saying U.S. taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years.
Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen.
He says the plan also includes 25% tariffs on all foreign-made automobiles as of midnight.
Trump has said he will increase U.S. duties to match the tax rates other countries charge on U.S. imports, ranging from 10 to 49%.
Now, how these tariffs impact Nova Scotia is still unclear. The CBC's Michael Gorman joins us with the latest on that. Michael, have we had some sort of a response from the provincial government?
Not yet, Tom. We are expecting a statement potentially later tonight from the Premier's office. But what we know for sure in terms of a more fulsome response is that will come sometime tomorrow afternoon. Premier Tim Houston, who's back home in his riding in Pictou County, is expected to do an availability with reporters. And it's presumed, or at least hoped, that between now and then he will have some more clarity, because right now there is very little. You mentioned the event that the U.S. president just had. And although he went through a long list of countries that face tariffs, Canada was not on that list. Now, it could be that we fall into the blanket 10% base that you mentioned. But just before we went to air, our colleagues in Ottawa are reporting a news alert that says the free trade agreement that is currently in place with Canada and the United States and Mexico remains in place. And so it could be that we're subject to the 10% tariff. It could be we're subject to no tariff. It could be something else altogether. What we know for sure is the industries in Nova Scotia at greatest risk of tariffs are lumber, seafood, and of course rubber tires, which are produced at the Michelin plants here in Nova Scotia. How all of this is going to shake out, though, remains unclear. Perhaps we'll have more clarity tomorrow. Tom?
In the hours and days to come. Thanks so much for that, Michael. CBC's Michael Gorman reporting live for us tonight.
A correction now to a story we brought you last Wednesday about the teenage girl who pleaded guilty to manslaughter for her role in the stabbing death of a 16-year-old boy in Halifax. In our report, we stated the Crown and Defence's joint sentencing recommendation was an IRCA sentence. In fact, the sentence was proposed under what's called an IRCS order, an acronym for Intensive Rehabilitative Custody and Supervision. An IRCA is a pre-sentencing report that helps judges consider how systemic racism, poverty, and discrimination have contributed to African Nova Scotians and other persons of African descent's interactions with the justice system.
The province is offering a reward of up to $150,000 to try to find those responsible for the shooting in Africville last July. 5 people were injured when shots were fired at the annual family reunion at the former historic Black community in Halifax's North End. It is the first time the major unsolved crime rewards program is being used in a case that does not involve homicide or a suspicious missing person. The province said it is warranted due to the event being a mass shooting that had a heartbreaking impact on the community. Halifax's police chief has confirmed no arrests have yet been made, but believe there are people with information.
Each investigation of this nature is always they're unique, and they're always complex, and they're always difficult. It's particularly when you deal with matters that are so reliant on first-hand witness accounts in terms of those situations, and there may be numerous reasons why some people don't come forward.
Anyone with information can call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program or Crime Stoppers.
Outbreaks of avian influenza in the United States are impacting farmers in this region. With fewer hatching eggs available, some who raise meat chickens on this side of the border are scrambling to find a supply of chicks. Erin Potty reports.
Right now, laying hens are the only chickens you'll find at Time for You in Millville. Each year, they raise about 1,400 meat chickens or broilers that end up on local dinner plates. But last week, farm owner Tim Levangie was told the spring chicks he ordered were not available.
It was kind of frustrating this weekend trying to figure it all out, and nobody really had any answers.
The problem is related to outbreaks of the bird flu in the United States and fewer eggs being available to Canadian hatcheries. About 20% of meat chickens produced in Canada are hatched from eggs imported from the U.S. That's according to the nonprofit group Chicken Farmers of Nova Scotia. The association's chair says across the province, the commercial industry is facing a 3% shortage in flocks this spring.
It's hard to be short. We want to aim for 100%, of course. But the most important thing is we're doing the best we can to mitigate it and just making sure that we can get our safe quality chicken out the door and onto store shelves.
Vanderhyde says the scarcity of chicks could have a significant impact on small-scale farmers like Levangie, who says the sale of chickens is about 30% of his business's income. He spent hours on the phone this week searching for other chick suppliers and is hopeful avian influenza does not have further impacts on his season.
Booked 400 chickens this morning, so hopefully it's all going to work out and they have enough eggs. You know, as always, just plan for the best and see what we can do.
Vanderhyde's organization is working with hatching groups to try and find enough eggs to get small flock producers going. She expects the shortage will be temporary as flocks that were hard hit in the U.S. are now rebuilding. Erin Potty, CBC News, Millville.
All right, a little break in the action now to talk weather.
Yes, sounds like we're getting pretty much everything but the kitchen sink.
Yes, spring, right? Hopefully you enjoyed the sunshine today, albeit a cold day for this Wednesday. But yeah, it's turning unsettled for Thursday. Snow on the leading edge of this system, and it will accumulate to cold air in place. And so as this snow spreads in, we're looking at likely 2 to 5 centimeters in the south and west. 4 to 8 centimeters across the central and eastern areas of the province. Now, Cape Breton could see some pockets that do get up into that 10 centimeter range, maybe even a little bit higher, especially your higher terrain areas into the highlands. But this is going to be just enough to make things slick for that commute home. Now, the commute in the morning will be okay. We will see some flakes in New Brunswick by 9 a.m., but this is all going to track in late morning throughout the afternoon. Snow on the leading edge, transitioning to ice pellets and freezing rain through that commute home through central areas. It continues to snow for the afternoon commute in the east. And we're transitioning to rain in through western areas of the province. And then we'll all transition to a bit of drizzle and fog overnight as temperatures rise into the double digits by Friday. So a little bit of sunshine in there as well. We'll talk about that with your 7 day
thanks so much, Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
A rash of fires at the abandoned St. Patrick's Alexandra School in North End, Halifax has firefighters and community groups speaking out against the derelict building. Many are calling for it to be demolished and redeveloped as the owner of the property and the municipality try to reach an agreement in court. The CBC's Nicholas Sagan reports.
This former school left abandoned for more than a decade, both an eyesore and a danger to the neighborhood, drawing concern from the youth center and church next door.
As being used in ways that are not safe and by people who are not safe.
Really just issues of human safety with the amount of fires that have been in there lately.
The old St. Patrick's Alexandra School was declared surplus, then closed in 2011. Since then, attracting people seeking shelter.
We see some discarded needles, rodent infestation. There's some biohazard issues in there.
Triff says this is a risk to firefighters and the people inside, with 12 fire calls to the building in 12 months. 3 of them just last week, renewing calls for demolition.
Ideally, they'd be secure and nobody would have access to them. The only way to do that is to bring them down.
After years of back and forth, the municipality sold the property to Jono Developments in 2020, with an agreement that Halifax could buy it back if construction hadn't started by this month. But it hasn't been straightforward. Jono Developments and HRM have been fighting over the buyback agreement in court. The developer saying it should be void because work has started on an accessory building on the property, which HRM says is irrelevant to the main structure.
The fact that the developer hasn't done anything with it at this point, it's not fair to the community at all.
Halifax's mayor says he's awaiting the results of the litigation, but he has hopes for the site.
No question, it needs to be a mixed-use housing development. This is a site that is prime for that. It's surrounded by existing established neighborhoods. It's on many transit lines. It's close to basic services that people need.
As for the owner, president of Jono Developments, Joe Metledge, told CBC he has no comment about the safety risks or his plans for the property. Nicholas Sagan, CBC News, Halifax.
Halifax has issued a demolition permit for remaining Bloomfield buildings. The municipality issued the demolition permit to property owner Bank Investments last month. The plan says the site will then be cleared for future development. The plan and permit come after one of the site's 3 buildings was destroyed by fire in February. The remaining buildings will be torn down by July 1st. The property has long raised concerns about safety due to poor structural integrity, missing fences, and broken windows.
A federal judge has ruled the Federal Fisheries Department failed to properly consult with commercial groups that fish for baby eels when it took about 14% of their quota and gave it to First Nations during the 2023 season. The ruling says the move was, quote, procedurally unfair. The lucrative fishery has been the source of tension as prices have reached as high as $5,000 per kilogram for the elvers, which are shipped to Asia. Justice Paul Favell concluded there wasn't enough engagement by DFO.
Researchers at Dow are learning to talk to the animals, or at least interpret what they have to say. A new app called Cluckify is cracking the code of what chickens are saying. And I'm here with Associate Professor Suresh Nithirajan. And first of all, why do you want to know?
Chickens, are like humans. They have the ability to communicate. They are social animals. But as of now, we do not understand them thoroughly. So the app helps us to understand their own inner lives, their way of communicating among themselves, their way of how do they tell their stories to us, how do they engage with us. So that's the idea behind the Cluckify app.
And how does the app itself work?
We have about 45 different categories of chicken calls: rooster call, mating call, a mother hen calling the chick, frustration, aggression, stress conditions, territorial calls, quacks, and so on and so forth. So anybody can download this app for free at the iOS platform. They can play with these sounds and understand. There is also a guess the game, kind of quiz involved in the app, so they can play random sounds and then train themselves whether they are able to clearly identify what it means. So as a farmer, when they visit the particular farm, they listen to the different sounds of the birds they make. Now, with the help of the app, they can really understand the context. They can say whether the bird is contented, happy, frustrated, or if there is certain aggression happening based on the amplitude, pitch, frequency behind that particular sound calls. This can also be used by the farmers who have a backyard coop. So anybody can download it and use the app.
And is it just chickens, or are you expanding to other species?
Currently, we are also working with dairy cows. It's called bovine talk. So we have been looking at what are the different types of communication that cows are expressing. Low frequency call versus high frequency call. How long the cow and calf separation is reasonable. How do we really appreciate the sounds the cows make? So there is another app coming in the next few weeks.
And I know you just launched this app, but how has it been received so far?
We just launched this yesterday. So far, we have about 300 downloads. We hope that we will be able to reach a larger audience.
All right. Well, it's fascinating, and thanks for walking us through it. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy.
There's a live look at the Armdale Roundabout, folks heading home. Ryan is up next with his full weather forecast.
All right, it's always a bit of a sport in this province this time of year, trying to figure out what's the right day to get your snow tires taken off. And I think I picked it perfectly because tomorrow I'm getting them taken off.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, just before the snow flies.
I seem to recall a conversation with you like 3 weeks ago where you're like, so April 3rd should be good, right?
And what did you say?
You were quite confident, as I remember.
Yeah. Listen, the best part about this whole thing is the morning commute's going to be fine when you have your winter tires still on, and then the afternoon commute is not going to be all that pretty when they're off.
Yes.
So,
go slow.
Could have done better there for sure.
I can give you a ride home.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of you. Thank you very much.
Thankfully, you're not too far away. So let's have a look at beautiful out there right now. And, listen.
Summer tire weather out there. Look at that.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And so the sunshine's shining. And by the way, we can all blame Tom for what's about to happen. We know that as much. As we look at the highs today, and you can see 0 in across the northeast, including Cape Breton today, -1 Port Hawkesbury. We did get to 6 degrees on the south shore today as that milder air with that northerly wind today, nicely shielded from that northerly wind is the south shore, and that kind of a setup. -3 already in Cape Breton. It's going to be a chilly night tonight. That is going to set the stage for that snow, for this to begin as snow before the winds do shift. They are going to become southeasterly. You can still see some gusts towards 40 and 50 kilometers per hour right now in Cape Breton as the skies begin to clear after onshore flurries there today. This is the next system, and boy, this system is one that is going to bring a lot of severe weather to the U.S. Already some tornadoes with this, flooding rain heading up along this cold front. Damaging winds, hail, wind damage. This is going to be a powerful destructive storm, unfortunately. Right here through this corridor, you can see how warm it is. Lots of moisture and fuel for the storms, and the colder air spilling in on the other side of it. So how things are going to play out for us, we'll walk you through it now. We are going to be looking at overnight lows tonight, -4 to -8. For most, winds are going to become light tonight, and then we'll see that southeasterly wind kicking in before morning for Yarmouth and the south and west. The clouds are going to build in throughout the overnight into Thursday morning. We're starting cloudy, except in Cape Breton, perhaps a little bit of sun for you folks. A few flakes on the leading edge of this, but it really fills in late morning into the early afternoon. A pretty quick transition to ice pellets and freezing rain, and over to rain in through the south and west. And I do think it'll likely be even less than 2 centimeters for the Tri-County area and right along that western part of the South Shore. This will spread in, as you can see, for Halifax, and into the afternoon, that snow will continue to track in. By 5 p.m., you can see still snowing for the commute home for Cape Breton. For the eastern parts of the mainland, it is snow, ice pellets, and some freezing rain still here across central on top of the snow that has fallen. And you can see back into the south and west already a transition to some rain and drizzle. In case you missed it earlier, again, I think less than 2 centimeters here in the south and west. A slushy 2 to 5 centimeters, good possibility here up through the central parts of the province, but as much as maybe 7 or 8 centimeters in some of these higher terrain areas, and across Cape Breton especially, or we could see amounts even exceeding 10 centimeters in some higher terrain areas. But this is going to be a snow that will be quickly then added on top of with the ice pellets and the freezing rain, just enough to make things slick for that commute home. That's really going to be the main concern. Temperatures near 0 by the end of the afternoon in Cape Breton. We'll get up to 2 to 4 degrees by supper time in through most of central, and into the west we'll see temperatures in the 3, 4, 5, even 6 range by the time we get to the early evening here, and there's those temperatures there. Note that temps will continue to rise through Thursday night, and some patchy drizzle fog patches. Note the temperatures here on Friday, high single, even some double digits. I think the clouds are going to be pretty stubborn, especially for eastern areas with a slight chance of a shower, but it's going to be mild on Friday, no doubt. 9 to 12 degrees. Temperatures falling into the afternoon, Cape Breton and the northeast in that northeast flow. We'll stay quiet for Saturday, and then we got another system which is going to be rolling in just in time for Sunday. Snow, ice pellets, freezing rain. We'll do it all again, and some showers and flakes even into early next week. Sorry, Tom.
It'll be all right, right?
It'll
be fine.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Coming up, nervous about crossing the border, an immigration lawyer shares tips for Canadians traveling to the U.S. Some Canadians are nervous about crossing the border into the United States because of all the chilling effects of the talk of tariff war with the U.S. Some immigration lawyers say expect increased scrutiny from border agents. Ravi Jain is an immigration lawyer. I'm sure you, like so many of us, hearing lots of stories of people and their interactions with border officials going into the States. There's some apprehension about it, understandably. How should Canadians be preparing for that next trip?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be overly alarmist. If you're sort of a mainstream Canadian and you want to go down, you shouldn't necessarily cancel a vacation and lose your money and tickets, et cetera, hotels. I mean, I don't want to be alarmist to that extent, but at the same time, if you're wanting to apply for a work permit, you might want to be a little bit extra careful, particularly with respect to any social media commentary, any political commentary. That's sort of new, that we're advising clients, if you've made some disparaging remarks about the administration or some of their foreign policy, they could very well find you inadmissible, just as they did with the French scientist, and they thought that his comments amounted to kind of terrorism, and he was critical of the administration. I don't know how colorful his comments were about Donald Trump in particular, but a lot of people say a lot of things on social media, so you want to be careful of that. And secondarily, if you have a birthplace that is particularly Iran, the Globe and Mail ran a story today on that, if you're from Syria or Afghanistan or some of these other Middle Eastern countries, you may want to think twice, because there are Iranian Canadian men who are facing questions around military service there, et cetera. And, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection is expecting people to come with records showing that they were not in the military in Iran, because, of course, they've designated a terrorist entity, right? Certain of the security forces there. So I think you've got to think twice, even if you feel Canadian, you're married a Canadian, your kids are Canadian, you've been here for decades, depending on your birthplace, you now have to worry about that.
Well, and you made a good point there about the social media feeds and what people may have had or retweeted or so on. Do you have to hand over your phone or your laptop rather, if they ask for it? Do you have to show them your social media feed?
You do, and they're going to demand to see your passwords and to log in, and then they take it away and then they analyze. So, a lot of people are used to an understanding in society that, they have to have a warrant to search your stuff. And they feel like if you're going from one country that has that expectation to another that generally has that expectation, you should be fine. And that is true once you're in either country. But at the border, it's not true. At the border, you can have your stuff searched, and you don't have the same rights. So that's why a lot of immigration lawyers, including myself, are recommending in certain situations to maybe carry a burner phone or to wipe your phone. Obviously, think about your tablets, your laptop, anything you're bringing over that would have access to social media, et cetera. And then maybe, re-download it once you get there. So those are kind of some things we're advising people to do.
And could you be detained while they're doing that investigation?
Yeah, I mean, you could be. I mean, that's why, the next level kind of advocacy is to sort of think about pre-flight inspection. So that's when you kind of clear U.S. immigration on Canadian soil in an airport that has that kind of facility. And that way, if you're not happy, if you want to just change your mind, you can just walk out, take your stuff and leave. And RCMP's right around the corner. And again, you're on Canadian soil. Whereas if you are going to a land border, then you physically have entered the United States, in your private car, let's say. Or if you are clearing immigration inspection upon arrival in the United States, then you're not in the same situation. You could, in fact, be detained.
And so what would your advice be how people should act when they're approaching the border point? How detailed should you be with your border official? What kind of tone should you take?
Well, deferential, and certainly don't volunteer. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have a bit of motor mouth, and they answer questions before they're asked, and they go on and on about stuff. So only ask the questions, answer the questions asked. And also be specific. I mean, don't just say I'm going for a holiday. Like, say where you're going, how long you're going, have a return flight, which hotel you're staying at. Like, be specific. If you're going to a conference, if you're going to a meeting, be specific on that too. I'm going to meet with so and so, and it's for a couple of days, and the meetings will be scheduled on these times, and then I'll be returning home. Here's my return ticket. So you try not to be vague, like business meeting, vacation. Like, be a bit more specific. Even though I just said don't over volunteer. I think, that's true. But I think when you're just answering the initial question, if you're kind of detailed enough to indicate your purpose, just to that limited extent, then I think that's what you should do.
And just quickly before I let you go, what's your opinion? Should Canada issue a travel advisory based on this kind of approach that you're asking people to take?
Yes, I mean, I think the advisory isn't strong enough. I mean, I think that there's going to be unsuspecting people just because they happen to be born in another country. Maybe they were born there and weeks later they left, or a few years later they left, and they really don't know that country. They've never been to that country aside from just being born there. Or maybe they've spent, some time there as kids. But either way, I mean, I think there needs to be some notice to Canadians that this could be an issue, right? I mean, a lot of Canadians, even if it's just a matter of losing a flight, missing a flight, or losing a trip, and the cost of a trip, I think Canadians need to know that this is something that has changed.
Yeah, really interesting to get your points of view on this, Ravi Jain. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Coming up, Canadian politicians promise to retaliate against Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs.
And election issues. Some First Nations leaders say they want to hear more about reconciliation on the campaign trail. Welcome back. A new 10% baseline tariff on trading partners announced today by U.S. President Donald Trump will not apply to goods compliant with the free trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. This comes just moments ago from the White House officials.
But Trump's plan also includes 25% tariffs on all vehicles he describes as foreign-made. As Marina von Stackelberg tells us, Canada is steeling itself to respond.
For the second time in this election campaign, Mark Carney has returned to Ottawa to deal with Donald Trump. The Liberal leader stepping back into his role as Prime Minister to meet with his special committee to decide on Canada's response. That left Liberal candidate François-Philippe Champagne to announce his party's promise to create multiple programs to help the farming industry. That includes doubling the revenue protection for farmers hurt by tariffs.
We will fight these unjust tariffs. We will protect Canadian workers.
Trump has taken aim at Canada's heavily controlled dairy industry. It's protected by supply management. It means Canada's production and pricing of dairy, poultry, and eggs is controlled. That protects those goods from the volatility of the market. But it's a system Trump says is unfair, and one Champagne says Canada will not change.
I want to be very clear. Very, very clear. No matter the nature of the negotiations we will have with the United States of America or other countries, we will never allow supply management to be on the table.
Pierre Poilievre wants Canada to renegotiate its trade deal with the U.S. quickly and ask Trump to suspend the tariffs in the meantime. There's no indication the U.S. president would agree to that. The Conservative leader says he has not reached out to the U.S. government with his pitch.
I've been operating with the rule of one prime minister at a time. Though I disagree strongly with both Prime Ministers Trudeau and Carney, they occupy that office. And I've been very careful not to do anything to divide Canada's voice.
It's expected that Ottawa will not provide a detailed response right away. The federal government will likely want to look over the fine print of the U.S. president's orders, because what has so often been the case, what Donald Trump says is not always what he does. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
On the campaign trail today, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre gave a keynote speech in Toronto, where he introduced his plans to address the trade war with the U.S.
First, I will protect our control over our border, our security, our resources, our farmers, including our supply-managed farmers, our fresh water, our automotive workers. Also, we will protect our sovereignty.
Poilievre said Canada must build an economy that is not reliant on its largest trading partner. As Prime Minister, he said he would propose an early renegotiation of the free trade agreement. The deal signed in 2020 is scheduled to be reviewed next year.
It was a similar story for NDP leader Jagmeet Singh on the campaign trail today. He was in Winnipeg, doubling down on his party's plans to safeguard Canada from Donald Trump's trade war.
For me, our response domestically has to put workers first, has to put people first, not the billionaires and not the rich CEOs.
Singh is pushing for what he calls a no-trade clause to protect key Canadian industries like electricity generation and critical minerals from foreign companies. Singh rejected the idea of an early renegotiation of the free trade deal. He questioned Trump's plan to change what he had negotiated and agreed to in 2020.
Some First Nations leaders want to see a bigger focus on reconciliation in this federal election campaign. Many feel that Canada's relationship with Indigenous people has taken a back seat amid Donald Trump's trade war. The CBC's Josh Crabb reports.
Construction work continues at Nawe-Odena, the site of the former Kapyong Barracks in Winnipeg. It's an urban economic development zone for Indigenous arts, culture, and business.
At the federal level, we haven't heard a whole lot, especially when it comes to Indigenous business or what supports are going to be there.
Renee Greyeyes with the Indigenous Chamber of Commerce of Manitoba is looking for more of a focus on reconciliation in this election campaign.
Consult with us, but not only that, but give us that voice at the table too. We're equal partners to Canada.
Chief Derek Nepenak of the Minnegoze-Bee Anishinaabe says reconciliation needs to be part of all facets of the campaign, but he isn't surprised it hasn't been front and center.
It signifies a shift in what reconciliation means, and I think it signifies a shift in where reconciliation is going into the future. That is, it's embedded, it's part of the daily conversation.
Nepenak says reconciliation needs to be part of any conversation surrounding resource development. He says anyone looking to extract minerals in Canada will need to consult Indigenous leaders. Nepenak doesn't think political parties have given enough attention to what they think those negotiations should look like. Reconciliation did come up at one of Liberal leader Mark Carney's campaign stops in Winnipeg.
We announced as a government the doubling and the broadening of the Indigenous loan program.
The NDP says it's committed to working on justice and rights for Indigenous people. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promised a Canadian Indigenous Opportunities Corporation.
We want to give control to First Nations so that they can make these investments.
Chief Gordon Bluesky of Broken Head Ojibwe Nation says some Indigenous people may oppose voting because of Canada's colonial roots, but Bluesky says their views matter.
It becomes more and more valuable to us when we start to realize that not only the roots of it, but also that our votes really do matter.
An important way to get results, he says, reflect the values of Indigenous people. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Many Canadians have been boycotting American goods to protest Donald Trump's tariffs and annexation threats, but they're continuing to spend money on one big U.S. player, Meta. The CBC election fact-check team has been looking into the proliferation of campaign ads on Facebook. Senior reporter Jonathan Gatehouse tells us what they found.
Political parties in Canada have advertised on Facebook for many years now, and this election is no different. We pulled the data from March 23rd, the day the election was called, to the 29th, shared in Facebook's advertising library. Not surprisingly, the two frontrunners are spending the most, with the Liberals totaling $677,000 over the first week, and the Conservatives spending $622,000. After that, it drops off rather dramatically, with the NDP spending just $13,000 and the Green Party only $8,600. And something else of note, the Bloc Québécois have spent $9,000 on ads so far, bringing an end to a boycott they started in 2023, a decision that came in the wake of Meta's ban on sharing Canadian news sources, including CBC News, which was a response to the Liberal government's Bill C-18, the Online News Act, which mandated compensation to media outlets for the use of their content. A Bloc spokesperson tells CBC News that the party is spending $2 in the Quebec media for every dollar they spend on advertising on Meta. The Bloc Québécois were the only party who said they would stop, and in fact, it's been pretty much business as usual on Facebook for the Liberals and Conservatives ever since. The NDP paused its ads for a while, but like the Greens, they don't have as much money to spend. But now those ads, dollars, are flowing freely during the campaign, despite the Buy Canada rhetoric from all the parties. There's a pretty simple reason for that. Facebook still delivers unmatched social media outreach, and the parties have yet to figure out a way to replace it. Even Elections Canada are using it. They've spent $74,000 so far. And there's a large variety, ranging from video ads to text ads, and many of them are targeted for specific ridings or regions. For example, the Liberals have 5,700 different ads spread across the party's page and Mark Carney's site. The Conservatives have a library of 758 ads so far. The NDP are running 166 different ads, and the Greens have 214 ads in their library. And those numbers are only going to increase as the campaign continues, not just because of Facebook's reach, but because of the general level of spending on a modern federal election campaign. Elections Canada's preliminary spending limit for this campaign adds up to just over $30 million per party if they are running candidates in all 343 ridings. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Toronto.
Rogers Communications and the NHL have reached a new agreement for the national media rights to NHL games on all platforms in Canada. And it is much more lucrative than the current deal, which expires after next season. The CBC's Jamie Strachan has the details.
Martyrs in front, scores!
How much hockey can Canadians watch, and how much will they pay for it?
There is nothing more valuable in this country from a media standpoint than having the rights to the NHL.
Rogers hopes so. The company just shelled out $11 billion to broadcast NHL games across all platforms for 12 years. The deal more than doubles the value of its current deal, which expires after next season.
The value of live sports content just continues to appreciate, and it's really rooted in viewership continuing to grow.
It's the NHL.
But that doesn't mean your favorite NHL team will always be on Rogers-owned platforms. The deal allows it to sublicense some games to streaming services. Currently, Monday night games are on Amazon Prime. So, could more be sold off?
The answer is yes, we'll look to it as a possibility and a strong possibility. As we look to the next 12 years, the agreement with the NHL is that we'll look to opportunities to continue to sublicense where it makes sense.
This sports media journalist says even though Canadians love hockey, Rogers has to be careful.
But I do think in terms of consumers being stretched, in terms of their own budgets, I think if I was Rogers, I would think very long and hard about what that price point would be for hockey.
And hockey fans in the United States.
There's also the question of what role CBC might play in this deal. After more than 70 years of NHL broadcasts, its current contract ends after next season.
We value our partnership with the CBC, and over the next 18 months, we'll look to see if there's a continued partnership there.
With the Stanley Cup playoffs around the corner, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman says the game will connect with a wider fan base. Rogers is banking on it. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Movie actor Val Kilmer has died. He succumbed to pneumonia on Tuesday. Kilmer made his film debut in the comedy Top Secret in 1984. He went on to star in some of the most popular movies in the 1980s and 1990s, including Top Gun.
Congratulations on Top Gun. Thank you. Sorry to hear about Cougar. He and I were like brothers in flight school. He was a good man. Still is a good man. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Kilmer played Iceman, Tom Cruise's nemesis, as a school for top American military pilots. The actor won critical acclaim for his turn as musician Jim Morrison in the biopic The Doors. He also made an impression as the Caped Crusader in Batman Forever. Kilmer, who was born in California, was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014. He underwent a procedure on his trachea that made his voice raspy. He married actor Joanne Whalley in 1988, and their union lasted 8 years. He is survived by their children, Mercedes and Jack. Kilmer was 65 years old. Well, we don't always love the decorations our neighbors choose for their homes and front yards.
But one ornament erected on an Ontario lawn is raising some eyebrows and some outrage. Jacob Barker has that story.
I'm here in Amherstburg, where a sculpture on the front step of this house is catching the attention of passersby and has resulted in at least one formal complaint to the town.
Take the Statue of David. The Statue of David does have genitalia on it. People do have that statue in their yard. It is considered art. The genitalia is not the only thing on that piece of work. It is a whole human body. There is much more to it. This is a 4-foot tall penis, and it is meant to offend people.
Do you think that's the motivation of this individual, is to offend?
Either that or they have a really immature sense of humor.
Judy Carney says the phallic ornament just down the road from her has been on her neighbor's lawn for about 2 months. She thinks it's inappropriate and wants it removed. But she says the town has told her and others that there's nothing that can be done about it.
Because there are no bylaws in Amherstburg about what you can put in your yard.
An emailed statement from Amherstburg Mayor Michael Prue agrees, but he does say he thinks it is in poor taste and that he's going to check with other jurisdictions to see if there's anything that can be done. We did make efforts to get a hold of the person who lives at the house, but we were not successful. A neighbor told us that the person works out of town and is away for long stretches of time. They weren't sure if the resident even put the ornament out themselves or whether it might be friends pranking them. Regardless of how it got there, the decision to display it is a topic of debate for those in the town.
Nothing else really to say about that. It's a poor choice.
Do you think there should be a way to compel people to take that down?
When it comes to free speech, people make their decisions and people can react how they want to with it, but At the end of the day, it's still someone's choice to put up what they want.
If there is no rule, then they have the right to do that. But I feel like, the town could potentially have a meeting over that and maybe establish some from now on.
I actually don't find it acceptable, especially because I have young children.
Carney hopes her neighbor will consider removing the lawn ornament.
Once you see that, you can't unsee it.
Otherwise, the only option is to look the other way. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Amherstburg.
Stock markets in Canada and the United States rose today as investors awaited a tariff announcement expected from U.S. President Donald Trump after the bell. Here's a look at the numbers as we head to break. Yeah, we didn't ask if you had an appointment to get your tires.
No,
yet, or
no,
you,
I do
Amy,
mine.
know that or no?
I have the benefit of doing mine myself in the driveway. So
you could have done mine. Why didn't we take that?
It's true.
Well, you still time to cancel, right?
Yeah, you could if you want. There's lots of space in the driveway there.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, listen. Speaking of snow, it's a kind of a nice segue to our viewer picture of the day because we're still in the season, Tom. Who, by the way, in case you missed it earlier,
reminder.
Tom is getting his tires off tomorrow. That's why we're
great timing.
Perfect timing. Have a look at our viewer picture of the day. I love seeing pictures from people who have not contributed before. And this one from Browns Mountain Ridge. This is just west of Antigonish. And how about this?
Oh, that is very pretty.
This was taken earlier the week before the mix and of course the melt. And thanks to Janice so much for sharing this. Beautiful spot there. Looks like she said she loves where they live there in Antigonish, and why wouldn't you?
Understandably.
Beautiful spot there. Thanks to Janice for sharing. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca, and a bit more for that Antigonish County and all across Nova Scotia. We'll see at least a taste from this. We're looking at a pretty quick transition in the south and west. I think that's where we'll see likely trace to as much as a couple of centimeters. More like the 4 to 8 centimeter range through central and eastern areas, especially towards the north and east, as well as Cape Breton. So 5, give or take a few. And then you can see back into the south and west, we transition to rain throughout the afternoon. And the evening is when we'll transition to rain for the central and eastern areas, probably late evening by the time the transition occurs in through Cape Breton. So temperatures will bump up. And then as you can see, some lingering showers in drizzle into the overnight. Friday looking pretty good in the west, a mix of sun and cloud building up into the afternoon. But note those temperatures, nice and mild on Friday. And we'll just leave it at that.
Yes, let's leave it on a high note.
And on a high note, yep.
It's not uncommon for a whale to wash ashore in this region, of course, and for people to take pictures of it.
But one man in Newfoundland took his photography just to a whole new level.
Yeah, it's hard to describe the sheer size of a beached whale, so Brendan Gould laid down beside it for scale.
He used his drone to capture some videos of the pair lying side by side, which have garnered thousands of views on social media.
The sperm whale washed up on the beach near River of Ponds, though it's not clear how long it's been there. Sperm whales can weigh between 15 and 50 tons and measure 11 to 18 meters.
Massive.
Brendan got the point across. It's big for sure. That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.